of introducing yourself. First, your name, your related teaching experience, and your course, just very high level detail, high level introduction, and one word to describe your course, like one unique word. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, my name is Tony Mauro. My background is in electrical engineering, and I was in industry for about 22 years before I made a transition into the classroom, where I received a credential in mathematics. And so I teach at a local high school in San Diego, California, engineering and computer science, and founded with Dan the company NexStream, where we offer enrichment courses in STEM related fields, specifically in machine learning and computer engineering. And so my background is in electrical engineering. Like I said, I've been teaching at the high school level for about 10 years, computer science and engineering. I'm also a registered patent agent. So I've had a lot of good exposure to inventions and innovations. And for the one word I think that would describe the courses that we offer at NexStream would be technology. It's all technology related. So what we're focusing on is trying to address areas of technology that aren't currently exposing the students at the middle school and the high school level. And so in engineering and computer science, we're starting with both machine learning and computer engineering. So machine learning on the software application side, and then computer engineering on the hardware side. What we found is, my experience at the high school level, is that typically the electives that are offered to students are limited to kind of elementary level, minimal level of complexity in computer science, and almost no treatment of hardware in the computer engineering field. And I think part of the motivation really in trying to start this company with Dan was, and for me to actually leave industry and come into education, was really to try to get more students really interested in engineering and computer science. And there was a lot of it was based upon my own experience when I was at the company at Qualcomm, and we were looking for engineers to join the company, and we found that you can't find them. We just didn't have enough of them, and so there's really a shortage of them. I think a lot of it has to do with the kids aren't really exposed sufficiently at the middle school and the high school level to these areas. And so what we wanted to do was try to make it meaningful to the kids so that they could see a connection between their STEM courses and actual application of those in these two areas. And so machine learning is obviously it's a really hot area. It's kind of forms the basis of artificial intelligence. And if you look at anything that's technology related these days, any of the hot companies that are out there, they all utilize what they call data mining techniques, and those are related to machine learning and artificial intelligence. And so we have, I think, a unique approach in our coursework, in that we provide a comprehensive what we call a stream, which is just a pathway of courses that really that fully expose the students to very introductory level treatment of the material into the really complex areas of it. And I think we do a pretty good job of guiding the students through, because this is pretty hard stuff. And so we're trying to make it so that it's fun and meaningful to them. So we're pretty excited about it. We have a lot of interest in the courses, not only in the machine learning, but we're as Dan mentioned, we're kicking off computer engineering this summer, and really that's my very specific background, and so we're excited to get going with that and get kids again, interested and passionate about this, like I've been for the last 25 years.
Thank you, Mr. Mauro. Hats off to you. Many of us stay in high tech in the company environment because the pay compensation is much better. And in this society in America specifically, we lack passionate STEM educators. We want all young kids many of us want our kids to pursue computer science. And both of my children are going to pursue computer science or math. However, we don't have enough teachers like you with strong industry background and come back and give back to society. So thank you so much, Mr. Mauro. Thank you. What are the concepts covered in machine learning courses, and what are the language and experience level requirements? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks for that question. So so the machine learning stream, we call it a stream, it's like a pathway of courses. There's I think we have 25 what we call courses in the stream. Each course has approximately 10 to 12 units and assignments and projects associated with them. So it's quite extensive, quite comprehensive. The concepts that we cover are very basic, from general classification, so image classification. We use very high-level models to create the learning, essentially the model that then we can integrate in different applications. So the kids can start off with almost no experience, no coding experience required. We work our way through classification to object detection. So that's another image kind of processing type technique. Then we go into a very deep dive into the tools. So the core, and so to cover one of your questions, what language? Most machine learning is accomplished through Python. So the language is Python that we primarily work with, and libraries that are used in addition to Python would include things like C. But we don't spend too much time actually developing in C. It's mainly Python. We do a little bit of JavaScript and a little bit of HTML when we build up our applications that host either the classification or the object detection models. Once we go in, so we'll go into a deep dive into Python. So the students will get a lot of good coding experience in addition to this application of Python. We'll then start working with the very specific machine learning libraries that are built on top of Python. So libraries called TensorFlow and Keras and others, NumPy and other pandas, other types of machine learning libraries that are very prevalent in the industry and at the university level. And then we'll go into machine learning algorithms. So all of the clustering and classification algorithms that are typically used again in data mining. Then we do neural networks. So those are kind of the famous model of the neuron, right? Either the human or mammalian neuron. And so we have an electrical model to that we build up from scratch and implement that. And then we go into more advanced topics that are applications of all of this. So by the time the students are done with our stream, and that may take a few years before they that's why we try to recruit them at an early age, in probably the 8th to 9th grade level, and 8th to 9th grade US level. And so maybe earlier elsewhere. but they could be with us for a few years actually to get through this in kind of a part-time fashion as they work with, you know, their other studies. There is no real experience level required that we're insisting upon. It's good if the students have a little bit of coding experience, just because we do some coding from the very beginning, but we teach them everything they need to know from day one all the way till the end. So, well, again, you know, as I mentioned earlier, our goal is really to get students interested and passionate about this area. And so we don't want to make it super rigorous to them that, you know, that we're hitting them with lots of equations and derivations and you know, the real tedious parts of it. What we want to try to do is give them the tools that are necessary for them to accomplish some of these, you know, some of these applications.
This section will be dedicated for mainly NexStream internship. Do you want to highlight mainly in the technical field, what kind of internships offered, what's the roles, responsibility, what's the expectation, and how you test them, how they pass your test?
Sure. So just to kind of take a little bit of a step back, what we focus on is what we call differentiated instruction at NexStream. So that basically means we produce the content, we allow the students to work their way through it at their own pace, which means we allow the students who have a fast pace to kind of go through at their pace, and the slower ones can work through at their pace as well. That's in a little bit different than how it normally is in a typical classroom, where you have kind of the group of students and you try to move them all together. And what that usually means is that the teacher, the instructor, has to teach basically to about the center of the competency level, because you got to try to get the majority of the students to kind of move with you. And what that tends to do is it is not servicing the students who move really quickly, and it's not servicing the ones that move slowly. You end up losing the slow ones, and you end up boring the very fast ones. And so we have an approach that allows them to work quickly through or slowly through the material. We also have then as far as our classrooms environments are concerned, a very I guess it's low student ratio to the instructors. We have typically about a 4-to-1 or 3-to-1 student to instructor ratio. Those instructors then are comprised of 3 different roles. So we have one that's the lead instructor for the session. That would be like someone like me, kind of leading the efforts. And then we have assistants. Primarily we call the instructor assistant, and then we have another one called the stream assistant. And the stream, again, is the kind of the pathway of courses. So as far as internship opportunities go for students, what we do is we hire the students to take on roles of instructor assistant and stream assistant. And those 2 roles are to help students in the session who are part of this differentiated instruction, where they may be moving at different paces. Again, so we take the instructor as kind of live teaching some concepts, but there may be students who are moving quicker. And so those would be then brought into, say, a breakout room and taught a faster pace, or on the other side, if a student is taking a little bit longer time or needs a little bit of extra help, then we'll service them with another assistant. So that's why we want to have a ratio that is that's workable for that environment, so that we are able to service all of the students as they're working through a curriculum. So internship opportunities are instructor assistant, and Stream Assistant for instruction. We also have internship opportunities where we bring students in to help us with curriculum development. So as we are creating our content, I'll have a baseline concept that I need to have created into the rendered material. So it'd be, you know, the slides and the images and the narration for the slides. And those we use interns for that as well. They will do what we call content production. And so this is, what we do is actually, we've been recruiting some students who have expertise in video film to be able to create content that is meaningful and has our branding and has the correct ways of highlighting material and narration, so they sound professional. And so that allows the students to have their content then, and it has a look and feel that allows them to go through it again at their own pace. We also have then students who are actually helping us with data analysis. So as we are starting to mine our own students' data to see how best that we can report their performance, not only to themselves, but to their parents. But also it helps us as teachers to see where there might be areas of challenge for a particular student. So again, that's how we can differentiate our instruction for each one of the students, because we can see where a student might be having difficulty, and then we can target that with them in a one-on-one session, and allow them then to become confident in that area that they might be faltering in. We also then finally we collaborate with industry. So our as we kind of work our students through the stream, when they get into the more advanced areas, we work on projects with industry partners that we collaborate with on real world projects. So you know, we've got, you know, lots of contacts from Dan and our own careers prior to going into the education area, with ex-colleagues that have started their own companies, others who are in larger companies, and who want to work with us and want to work with our students. And so we work with them to produce or to provide actual real world internship opportunities for the students.
So before I go to the question there about instructor, I think there might be college students or parents here. Yes, can you elaborate a little bit of a internship opportunity for college students here?
Yeah, so we actually recruit you know, quite extensively for college level students who are in one of the areas that we focus on in our streams. So typically we'll target students who are studying either directly computer science, you know, data science. Sometimes they call it the EECS types programs, where they have combined electrical engineering and computer science, or straight electrical engineering. We've also recruited students who are doing dual majors that might be studying like psychology and computer science, or cognitive science and computer science, or business and computer science, or economics and computer science. We target all of those because we feel they're very relevant and applicable to these fields. And so those students then, we bring them in, and they help us again with curriculum development, but also with teaching some of our sessions. So they work as instructors, working with the children. We feel that you know, I'm one person, and so I can't be in all of our sessions at once, but I feel that the instructors at the college level, they actually have a better rapport with the students because they're closer in age, and so they know kind of the things that help engage and help motivate the students, and they have really good real world kind of applications that they can talk to the students about. And so we found that, we find so far that it's been really successful. The students really like our instructors that are our recruits from from the kind of like these leading edge schools that are studying these really cool technology areas, because they can bring in a lot of real relevant experience, and they just really have a good rapport with the students. So yeah, definitely there are college level students. We are always looking for good ones as we continue to grow, to help us grow by helping us with instruction.
Okay, so now we go back to the question here. Time frame of the work, Mr. Mauro.
So I think what this is asking, I mean, we have what we call a subscription model, where we run the classes year round, and so as far as the internships go, if they're working as an instructor, and they're getting that paid internship opportunity, it's actually quite flexible. So it really is dependent upon how many sessions the intern wants to take on. And so most of our sessions they have to be outside of normal classroom hours during the school year. And then during the summer, what we'll have more focused workshops that will happen during the daytime, maybe late morning, and then afternoon, and then in the evening. But during the rest of the year, it's typically after school hours. So they may be starting at in U.S. time on the West Coast, 5 p.m. for example, and going for an hour and a half for each one of the classroom sessions, or the weekends. And we have typically several sessions happening during the weekends as well. And so the time frame is hour and a half per session. Typically once a week is when we have the session happening, and that's for the subscription model. When it's in the more focused summer sessions, then those are happening every day for an hour and a half each, for the US model. And then for the Asia model, it's a little different, as Dan was describing. But once we get into this is actually a really good opportunity for the college level students who may be very busy with their studies during the year. They usually will want to they can either expand or contract depending upon their workload. And so it's very flexible. So we have lots of students who will work 1-2 sessions a week, and then during the summer maybe they'll pick up more, or they can do more on the weekend. So it's really flexible in terms of the time frame. So hopefully that answered that question.
Okay, the next question is about video filming section.
So elaborate on the video film section. This is probably relevant to what I was mentioning earlier, where we've recruited video film students that I work with at the high school to help with content, what we call content production. So what we do is we generate our content in the form of slide decks that have been converted into videos for the students to watch. Again, they can watch those through at their own pace, and then we supplement that with live instruction, and then projects that we work with them directly through. The content, sometimes they call this what they call a flipped classroom, if you've heard of that, where the students will view the content, the video content, on their own, and then they can come into the sessions and work on projects, or they can work on the content themselves too. That content that's hosted on our learning management system in the form of these videos has been created by these video film interns. Typically, I think almost all of them have been created by the interns that we use from that have some experience with video film. And so they're responsible for making the content flow, you know, in a good manner, having the graphics in the videos making sense. When we narrate, they're highlighting certain areas, or having or they're organizing all of the transitions. So if you have an equation or something that comes in and they highlight it while the narrator is speaking through, because again, it's not something where you have a professor up at the classroom pointing out equations. They'll listen to this content through, and then again we supplement them with the live instruction. And so the video film people will create that content based on not necessarily filming anything, but they do it based on post-production techniques that are typically used in video film.
Okay, so is a video editing experience required?
You know, it's helpful, but the tool that we use, it just takes some time to get up to speed on it, and we have people that can train. But I think that either, you know, we've had people who are technically inclined that can you know, easily pick up the editing type portion, and as long as it's really comes down to, can they communicate well, right? And so if they're good at communicating, they can envision how best to present the material to a student, such that it makes sense as it's being rendered. Then I think that's sufficient. So we have some folks who are experts in video film editing, but not technical, who do well, and we just have to give them very, you know, precise instructions on how to present the technical material. And then we have, on the other side, we have others that are very technically inclined, but they don't necessarily have film editing experience, and then they just come up to speed on how to do that. So we take both.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so also I have a question about how to pass your interview. I know you throw out coding challenges, and in what language do you challenge them?
Yeah, it's Python. For the machine learning stuff, it's definitely Python. In the computer engineering side, we talk to them a little bit about hardware, so very specific, you know, hardware components related to digital design. But on the machine learning side, it's my coding challenges are Python based.
Okay, yeah. So for instructors, for college students, instructors, curriculum development, that all need to pass Mr. Mauro's coding challenges. And how about IA? Do you challenge them as well for instructor assistant? Yeah,
definitely. Instructor and instructor assistant. I view the instructor assistants as instructors in training, right? I mean, they have the ability to do almost everything. They're just not completely, you know, in the end, there's a responsible person, right? We have one person that's responsible for the session. That's the instructor. But the kind of the right-hand person of the instructor is the IA, is the instructor assistant. And so that person has to be, you know, able to essentially take over the session if needed. And so, yeah, so I quiz them as well.
Okay. So, and also we have Stream Assistant, which mainly we promote our students, right?
Yeah, and that's really one of the benefits of joining our program, is that opportunity, as you progress through and show, you know, engagement and passion for the technology, like we have. Yeah, you know, all of our essays are you know, they're actually most of them are current students in our program, and so they'll teach the new students coming in as they've kind of progressed through to the more advanced material. They're helping with essentially like a teacher's aide type opportunity, where they can help the students, because they're very familiar with the the curriculum and the projects because they've gone through them, so they can help other students. And it really fosters good collaboration and teamwork amongst the students, and kind of camaraderie in the classroom, which is what we want to do too, because teamwork is also a very important aspect of being able to work in a technical field.
Mm-hmm. So for the classes that we're launching for China, we'll at least have 2, maybe 3 stream assistants, and all 3 of them will command perfectly both Chinese and English to help students from Asia. However, English is required to take our class, and we'll add, of course, we'll have 2 instructors. So totally 4 and 5 teaching staff to 8 students. So that's for machine learning for China. It's 18 classes, and you can check it out. And going back to the teaching kind of TA experience, I think Mr. Mauro and I, we have similar experience. You have a lot of students. I only have 2 sons, right? 2 boys myself, but both of them have benefited, especially the first one, the older one, that have done not only learning a programming language, but also being TA as community service since 7th grade. And he has learned a lot. As a matter of fact, he wrote his college essay and about STEM education, and it's a very clever college essay for UC. So I actually posted his essay in the Zoom chat. It's a blog. It's a blog written by Ms. Pont. Ms. Pont was his advisor, and Ms. Pont used his essay as a very good example. So you guys can take a look at it and how he reflects teaching and TA and throughout his middle school and high school. So anyway, okay, that's very good. That's for stream assistant. And any other questions? Any other questions? Do you guys, any questions about non-engineering interns, which I can help answer from the audience? No more questions?
I guess the one, there's one message in there from the high school junior with previous ML experience. Definitely send us your resume. Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for people who, especially it looks like you have good ML experience. And so Dan, you know the NexStream email address. It's like info@nexstreamtech.com, I think, is where everybody sends their resumes, and they can go to our website and submit it that way too, I think.
I was going to say that there are other business internships. You can blog writers, social media, and there are a lot of internship opportunity posted on the Haddee site as well. Actually, the whole entire website is built by interns and a team of interns. So anyway, you guys can check it out. And next question, any internship for mechanical engineering students?
Well, you know, we don't have anything specific that you would be teaching an ME, curriculum. But if you're interested in, in working with machine learning or computer engineering, for sure. I mean, we mechanical engineering is definitely something that we're interested in. We have plans for streams that include robotics and automation, and that would be a component of that. So that's in the works currently, but it's not something that we have rolled out yet. That's a future thing. So yeah, so I mean, I think I would encourage everyone who is interested to so CAD would be something that would be applicable to the robotics and automation type internships that are streams that we would that we're rolling out in the future, but it's not this summer. So I would say for if you're it's very specific, if that's what you want to do is just CAD work, then I would say probably not in the near term. But if you check back with us, we'll definitely have something like that coming as we move into these other areas. We're trying to roll things out in sort of a methodical fashion where we do machine learning, then we're going to do computer engineering, and then we'll do the robotics stuff. And so that's coming, but it's not currently here.